Welcome back to the Dynasty Nerds YouTube page. And boy, it's already been a season. Lots of guys that have really impressed us, guys that we've lost due to injury, and guys that are just moving down our list overall. But I've got three guys for you that people are giving up on that they might be giving up a little too quick. Let's get into it. All right, like I said, I got three guys, three veteran players that people have completely abandoned. And I think they're doing so a little premature. I get it. So far, if you've been inserting these guys into your lineups, you haven't quite been getting the production that you would expect out of these players, but better days are ahead. So these are guys that I'm targeting for the rest of the season. So that way I can help push towards a championship run. Let's start with a guy that was consensus a QB1 to start the season and has now dropped all the way down in rest of season rankings to quarterback 20. That's Mr. Dak Prescott. Now, look, if you've been starting him, it's been rough. He has not been producing at all to the level that we expect, but there's somewhat of a reason why. Now, part of it is McCarthy and Dak, they've got to get on the same page. That's definitely part of it. But the other thing is, of those 5 games, let's evaluate them. 3 of those 5 games were against legit top 10 defenses against quarterbacks. So not very easy matchups. In one of those other 4 games, it was the season opener against the New York Giants, and they just absolutely dominated them right from the jump. So they didn't really need to throw the ball much because they were so far ahead in the game. So really his only opportunity to score points was in one single game. Things are going to get better. He has a very average schedule the rest of the season. I wouldn't say it's an amazing schedule, but it's not a tough schedule either the rest of the way. Very average, lots of opportunities to score points, and he should greatly improve upon being quarterback 20. Next guy I am looking to get and acquire for my teams because I think the hate has just gone way too far is that on Mr. Rhamondre Stevenson. Now, according to Fantasy Pros rest of season ranks, he is the 21st running back, and I think that even seems generous. A lot of people I'm seeing aren't willing to even start him anymore after these past 3 weeks that have been pretty brutal for your fantasy football teams. But let's look at how things have really gone. He faced some really, really tough defenses early on. Another one where 3 of those defenses were top 10 defenses against the run. The offense is just out of sync. But Rhamondre Stevenson actually has the 4th easiest schedule the rest of the way. And when you look at the playoffs, the last 2 weeks, you get teams like Denver and Buffalo, which Buffalo sounds like a tough matchup, but they've been actually averaging a huge yards per carry number against the running back. So really good matchups the rest of the way. And look, in those first 3 games that were actual games, Rhamondre Stevenson was getting lots of opportunities in the run game, getting targeted a ton in the passing game. And these past 2 weeks have just been so rough that he just hasn't been getting the workload that you would typically expect. These things will normalize. Bill Belichick, even though maybe he's not the coach he once was, he is still a very proud man. He is not going to allow his team to be playing this poorly the rest of the way. So I expect them to improve, but I also expect this lighter schedule to once again make Rhamondre Stevenson back into a high end RB2 or maybe even once again a low end RB1. Last but not least, let's talk about Mr. T. Higgins. Yes, T. Higgins. He's missed a little bit of time due to injury. And in his games, 2 of the 3 games that he started and finished were pretty gross. But during those 3 games that he started and finished, he was averaging over 9 targets per game. So they were looking to get him the ball. And the entire offense was out of sync. And I think everyone hit the panic button. They hit the panic button on T. Higgins and said, oh, this isn't going to be it. Let's move him down our rankings. Rest of season rankings, wide receiver 33 at the moment. That's behind guys like Christian Kirk, Nuke Hopkins, Jordan Addison, Tyler Lockett, guys that I would much rather have behind T. Higgins. I would much rather have T. Higgins on my fantasy football team. And look, the biggest factor in all of this, I think, is Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow looked like his old self again. He was moving around a little bit. So I think better days are ahead. It's not similar to Dak Prescott. It's not an easy schedule, but it's not a tough schedule either. He can definitely still once again be one of those high-end wide receiver 2s. And right now, you're paying very low wide receiver 3 prices in order to get him on your team. So I would be a fan of acquiring T. Higgins, and I'm not ready to give up on him for this season. All right, those are 3 guys that I have that I'm not giving up on. Who are some guys that you're not giving up on? Make sure you're checking out our partnership with Underdog. At Underdog, you can use promo code NERDS. You'll get a 100% deposit match up to $500 right now. And when you do that, you get an opportunity to get the GM, the best tool that we have at Dynasty Nerds, 100% free for an entire year. So make sure you check it out. Use that promo code NERDS at Underdog and the Underdog app.